Alex, thank you for joining us. Got a lot of news to get through, but let's start with the end of year accounts. They showed losses of £3.7 million for the year. How do you reflect on those numbers and what does that mean?
I think the number comes after what was a very difficult season for us in League One last season, ultimately ended in relegation. Year prior to that, we posted a loss of 2.6 million. Last year was 3.7. I suppose the positive that you can take from that, if there is one, is that our revenues into the club increased by almost £1 million. That was primarily made up from commercial performance across the entire club, as well as increase in home attendances for the season. But I suppose we're here having the same conversation, which is the cost of running football clubs is going up and up. The cost of players is going up and up. And we're in a world where it's not particularly sustainable for owners. So I think first and foremost, thank you to Mark and Paul, who have written a cheque for that amount of money to keep the club going and to keep us moving forwards on our journey. That figure will be bigger this year, there's no doubt about that. But it's about trying to find a way that we can make this as sustainable as possible, whether that's through player sales, development academy products, and then we'll come onto the stadium in a minute, but how do we make the fan base bigger and start to grow the revenues further? So in the roundabout way, it is a positive result, but equally the fact that we're talking about a loss of 3.7 million is crazy in itself.
It was revealed a few months ago that the club was on the lookout for investors. Are there live conversations, in those
Yeah,
regards?
I think we were very open in saying, look, that load of 3.7 last year is a lot for the two individuals in Paul and Mark to carry. It's going to get bigger. We've got aspirations to make that bigger as well. So we need a third person or set of people at the table. We've got conversations ongoing, but naturally they need to be the right people. They need to buy into the long-term vision. They need to meet our values, and they need to be able to contribute in the areas that we know we need some support in.
Earlier this week as well, the club published its submission to the Greater Cambridge local plan. Can you explain why it was important for the club to be part of that process and what you want supporters to understand about it?
Yeah, so the plan itself is a really exciting time for the city. We know there's lots going on. We know we've got lots of development, more housing, significant growth on the horizon for the city, which is one of the reasons we paused on the redevelopment project here at the Abbey. The local plan allows us to have our say. It allows us to be at the table and be part of the conversations. First and foremost, I think our submission aims to educate people about the value of the club, whether that's what we do here on a match day, what we're doing out in the community, and in particular the great work of the foundation. So first and foremost, that's the first objective. And then the submission kind of looks at two different pieces. So it looks at the redevelopment of the Abbey, which we're fairly well versed in. We know the positives, we know the negatives. We know it's our spiritual home. We would love to stay here. But I think one of the things that does come across in our submission and some of the feedback we've had from the council, who we've met with in recent weeks, is that growing the capacity here at the Abbey and the existing transport network and infrastructure in and around it in this ward is going to be problematic. There may be ways in which we can resolve that, bringing people into the stadium earlier, different modes and methods of transport, but ultimately it does pose some issues and problems. On the flip side of that, we've also said that we'll be open to looking at other sites. Many people may be aware of the East-West rail link that's going to be happening here. Rail link will take people from Oxford all the way through Bedford into Camborne and then into Cambridge, potentially coming out the other side with a future housing development. There has been an announcement recently of the Cambridge East train station, which is hopefully going to be opening in 2031, possibly earlier. Naturally, that's quite attractive to us. And there's lots of things in and around the local plan about Cambridge East as a region. It's on our doorstep, it's very close to the Abbey ward, and it's certainly an area that we're quite interested in and one which we're going to be having conversations about in due course. That said, there are other sites in and around the city that are also of interest. But I think if we can find a balance between growth and expansion, either here at the Abbey or somewhere local, then that feels like the right avenue for us to go and explore and develop. Things won't happen overnight. It's about being at the table, having the right conversations, and naturally we'll keep people updated. We've just commissioned an economic impact report in order to showcase the value of the football club on match days and non-match days, and we'll also be presenting various illustrations as what that may look like with either growth here at the Abbey or new stadium somewhere else.
And being at the table, that's a big part of why we've launched United for Cambridge, which the launch event happened last month. How was that event, and how do you see that moving forward?
So fans would have seen an event in the summer at King's College, which was trying to bring together civic and commercial organisations across the city. United for Cambridge seeks to provide a vehicle for those individuals and organisations to engage with us. It seeks to provide additional funds into the foundation so that we can have a bigger impact and increase the work that we're already doing. But equally, it's creating a network that's going to help develop Cambridge as we move forward, tackle some of the issues and essentially improve lives across the city.
And with the local plan in mind and our long-term future, I guess, uncertain in terms of where we might be in 5, 10, 20 years' time, what does that mean for supporters here at the Clydara Abbey in the short term?
I think in the short term, we have to ensure that we continue to provide exciting, enjoyable match day. So we'll be looking at ways in which we can make small changes. They will be small, and it's important that we do things noting that we may not be here for the long term, or we may be taking things down. Really pleased to announce that we'll be taking down T-Bar 1, which is located between the main stand and the NRE. That whole complex is hopefully going to be coming down in the summer. New toilets, new eating facilities, and a much needed upgrade for those supporters in those areas. So we're just going through the planning process for that at the moment, but very confident that come next August, there'll be some new facilities there.
Great. And there's been a lot of change with the women's team recently in terms of incomings and outgoings, and I know that some fans have had questions about that. What can you tell us about that?
So I think if you look back at the women's team, it's come into the club just over 3 years ago, made some really good strides forward. And I think we're in a real moment whereby there is a push and an endeavour and an appetite to professionalise further. With that comes some changes that we have to make, some changes around culture, some changes around recruitment. That's been going on at the moment. Really strong start to the season, slightly plateaued off, but ultimately we know we'll be in the same division next season now, which is a great achievement by everybody involved. For us to get to that next level, we need to secure new investment, which really pleased to announce we've done so in the last couple of months. So the existing owners have made a further contribution to women's team for next season. That will allow us to increase investment into players, increase investment into staff, and then we're also very close to moving the women's team into Cambridge. So for the first time under the club's umbrella, they'll actually be playing games here in the city. That opens up a whole new chapter for us in terms of fan engagement, growth of the fan base, engagement with civic and commercial organisations, and an opportunity to grow revenue. So there'll be more to be announced in the coming weeks, but some really exciting news and certainly a great step forward for the women's game here at Cambridge United.
And sadly, we issued a stadium ban to a supporter who'd been reported by multiple people for their sexist behaviour at the Shrewsbury game. I guess it's just a timely reminder to everyone that we take these things seriously and that we've got the equipment to find you out if you're caught behaving badly.
Yeah, I think it's a real shame that we're in 2026 and we're having to firstly discuss these matters and address them. The individual has received a lengthy stadium ban, which is over multiple years. We're a zero tolerance club. We work very, very hard to ensure everybody who comes here feels safe, has an enjoyable matchday experience, and it is a very, very small minority, but anybody who is caught to be breaching the ground regulations, be that with pyrotechnics, discriminating behaviour, they'll be banned in line with the policies that we've got. So.
And more positively, as for the first team, it's obviously been a tremendous few months, which just must be such a big boost to everybody associated with the club. Yeah,
I mean, it's been an incredible period really on the pitch, and probably a nice feeling to reflect. We're just coming up to a year ago since both Bonds and Neil came in. We undertook the football review. It was quite a challenging and difficult period, and we had to make some really difficult decisions, but it's great to see the hard work of those two, as well as many others in and around the first team and the club come to fruition. We always speak, we're on about creating memories and moments, and there's been some fantastic ones over the past few months. Really, really great to see George Hoddle in the side, see Liam Bennett, Academy product, Glenn McConnell's been on the fringe, and a really, really great period. Let's hope it continues, and there's some great memories to come in the next few months.
Finally, you got a final message to supporters as we head into the final few months of the season?
Yeah, firstly, enjoy it. Football's about ups and downs, and there's been some great ups in the minute, so let's really enjoy them. I'm sure there'll be bumps in the road. Stick with us, stay behind everybody, and let's hope come the end of the season, we've got some really, really special memories to share.